Golf courses have been the beautiful escape from the monotony of life since the creation of the old course in 1552. 15,000 courses are in the United States. No two are the same. The legends of the game have etched their name in the golf landscape. The Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Ben Crenshaw, and Pete Dye have all designed courses that the 25 million golfers in the U.S. consider bucket list courses. Publications such as Golf Digest, Golf Magazine, and Golf Week rank these courses as some of the greatest courses in the United States. From the West Coast's ocean views, the mountains of the central U.S., and the towering tree lines of the Northeast, famous holes and layouts stamped into every golfer's mind, from Pebble, Sawgrass, Whistling Straits, and Pinehurst. Most wouldn't expect a course in the middle of Oklahoma to be included with these names. Designed by one of the best in the world, this course is home to two of the most successful collegiate golf programs, 2 Hall of Fame golf coaches, more than 194 All-Americans, 77 conference championships, and 24 current tour players. A Golf Digest 5-star course, best new public course when it opened in 1994, and a top 100 public golf course in America since 2003. This course, just 5 miles outside of Stillwater, Oklahoma on Highway 51, is named after one of the influential golf pioneers this game has known.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek's a modern golf course.
(1973). Oklahoma State's first golf coach, Labron Harris Sr., stepped down in the spring after molding a program into a championship contender. His career included 24 conference champions, 27 All-Americans, and 2 national champions. His replacement was one of his All-Americans, Mike Holder.
I was fresh out of graduate school, never thought about, never dreamed about being a golf coach, but there I was. I got that job. I don't know how, but I did.
Holder was a third-team All-American as a junior and senior while playing for Harris just 3 years prior to his hiring as golf coach. Karsten Creek had yet to become a thought in Holder's mind, however. His first challenge was replacing a Hall of Fame golf coach.
And then I realized it was going to be more challenging than I realized, because the budget was $27,000, including my salary, recruiting, scholarships, the whole kit and caboodle. We played at Lakeside Golf Course, which Labron Harris had built.
Lakeside Golf Course was built in 1945. It was home to the OSU golf program for nearly 50 years. Despite being the main course, Lakeside didn't host the 1973 NCAA championship. Stillwater Country Club hosted the 1973 championship and the 1979 AIAW championship. In '73, the Cowboys finished 4th, and Holder knew he needed a better recruiting tool than Lakeside.
There was a lot of great things about it, but attracting world-class golfers to that facility was a challenge. And Coach Harris had been more of a talent developer, and I realized that I probably need to be more of a talent recruiter, and I needed better, to use a fishing analogy, I needed better bait than Lakeside Golf Course to land the kind of bass that I'd be fishing for.
The bait would be tough to find in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but Holder immediately started looking. The dream started in his first office in the old Spears School of Business.
My first fall on the job, 1973, we had a member of the golf team, Tom Duzin, and I don't know why we shared an office. I was teaching quarter time in the College of Business, and he wasn't a business student, but we shared an office. And in his portion of the office, he had a scale model of a golf course that he had designed that's pretty close to where Karsten Creek is today. And I asked him about that because it was a scale model, had all the trees, elevation, water, and I didn't know that a site like that existed in Payne County. So I asked him where that was, and he said, well, it's right along Highway 51, about 8 miles west of Stillwater. So next time I drove toward Highway 51 and I got in this area, I looked around and said, that's pretty nice looking property. I guess the golf course would work there, and I made up my mind to build one.
The land was selected, but the construction was on hold. Holder had to raise money, finalize a design, buy maintenance equipment, and put a planning team together. Today, the American Society of Golf Course Architects has a common 8-phase planning process that requires lawyers, permits, and detailed layouts. In 1976, the National Golf Foundation submitted a report to OSU that detailed the process for a golf facility to be built. The goal was to help lay out the outline to develop a golf facility which will serve the needs of OSU and the entire community. Aside from permits and approval letters, Holder's dream of creating one of the best golf courses in the United States required money, and a lot of it.
Yeah, I didn't really start trying to raise money until probably 1981, got serious about it. And it took 10 more years after that date to actually put enough together to start construction. Ed Julian in Oklahoma City was the first person that believed in me enough to give a significant gift. He gave $500,000. Started small, took a long time from that first gift, probably 10 years to get 4, 5, 6 million. I can't remember how much we had when we actually started the project. Wiley T. McCollum, a cardiologist in Oklahoma City, gave close to $500,000, and most of that was used to buy 160 acres of what now encompasses the 1,100 acres we have for Karsten Creek.
One of the last and most influential donations came from one of the biggest pioneers in golf history.
Well, it never would have happened without Ping and Karsten Solheim.
As founder of Ping, Karsten Solheim did as much for the course named after him as he did for the design of the golf club. After Solheim's contributions, money was raised and the next step started, finding a designer who would make Holder's dream a reality.
I knew that I needed to get a layout of a golf course on this piece of property, so I called Joe Walser, who was an OSU graduate, and he was in the golf club, our golf course development business, and I asked his opinion, and I said, well, I met a young guy I'm really impressed with. His name's Tom Fazio. I think you should at least talk to him, so I called him up.
Today, Tom Fazio has designed about 200 courses worldwide, but in 1976, he designed 6 courses in the United States. Fazio visited Stillwater and created a routing plan, but money was still tight. A decade later, more money was raised, but Fazio's popularity rose also.
In the 10 years that it took to get from those plans to actually having enough money maybe to build it, he had gone from a fledgling architect to the #1 architect in the world, and everybody wanted him to do their golf course, and he was very expensive. And I thought he was probably beyond our means.
Fazio designed 28 courses in those 10 years and became one of the most sought-after course designers.
But I called him up anyway, and he remembered me, and he remembered the site. And I told him what our budget was, which was about $4 million, and he was building courses for 2-3 times that amount of money. He said, I don't know if we can do it for that amount, but I'll send my design team back out there to look at the site.
To put this in perspective, a top-level course cost an estimated $5.9 million in 2018. Fazio designed the Golf Club of Oklahoma in 1982, and it cost an estimated $7 million then. Fazio visited the site again to look over the plans.
He did that, and they did make some changes, and then we made a deal that he would build it.
The first tree of many was knocked down in the early 90s. Golfers like Alan Bratton got the opportunity to see where the course would be and how it would be laid out during a recruitment visit. As a team member, Bratton got an even closer look.
One of the unique things for me is I got to, as a player, walk around with Tom Fazio and see how they did the golf course. I don't know how those guys do it. He had a topographic map in all these trees, and he was talking about green sites and tees, and all I saw was trees. So it's pretty amazing that those guys can put a course together just off of those maps.
While Fazio continued to sculpt the course and carve it out of the land, Bratton and the team played Lakeside and Stillwater Country Club with the dreams of the new course.
Yeah, we were really, really excited, obviously. We'd been looking forward to Karsten Creek being built, and we actually played Stillwater Country Club, which I thought was fantastic, much better than the golf course that I grew up playing on. And but clearly we didn't have something like Karsten Creek, so a lot of anticipation.
After years of construction, the course was finally finished and ready to play, but the golf team wasn't the first to tee off.
We were supposed to get to play the course the fall of 1993, and Coach Holder, to his credit, wanted the people that had given the money for the golf course to be the first ones to play their hole. Again, that's something that he's really good at, taking care of those people that are donors, being patient.
After a delay of the initial open day, Karsten Creek was ready for golf.
And we did the donor day there, so those people that had put up the money, have their name on holes, would be the first ones to get to play their hole.
The opening day for Karsten Creek was a spectacle. Holder, Fazio, Solheim, and many more celebrated the culmination of many years of work. Holder couldn't believe his dream was right in front of him.
It's one thing to have a dream, it's another to see it come to fruition, reality. So it just proves that whatever you dream about, whatever you think about, whatever you talk about, whatever you act upon, that's what will happen. So your only limitation is your ability to dream.
Everyone who made the course possible and the Cowboy golf team got to experience the 100-acre Lake Louise, which was named after the wife of Karsten Solheim, and walk through the rolling hills of the course for the first time.
I'll never forget how excited we were, because each day, you know, the course record wasn't set yet. It wasn't that low. So every day you went out there to go play, we had a chance to set the course record, and we were shooting low when it opened.
The players were shooting so low that Holder's vision of a championship course was playing too easy in the first weeks the course was open. Bratton was co-player of the year, and the team was on its way to another championship appearance. At the start of the following season, Holder was pleased with the difficulty of his course.
He was no longer talking about the golf course being too easy. I think we set records on provisional balls that fall in a round. So it's certainly a stern test, and we've continued to, as the ball's gone farther, lengthen things and keep the challenge that still exists out here at Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek finds its difficulty in Fazio's design. Fazio kept Holder in on the design process, from discussing the playability to shot selections to placement of hazards and everything else with the course, because this was Holder's golf course. Fazio expressed that the course didn't need a lot of water or hazards to make it challenging.
It's a long golf course, and you know, once you've hit your tee ball, then get on the green, the challenge has just begun, because the greens are very difficult.
Another former player says Karsten's layout compares to those of the PGA.
I was out in the rough a little too much, and that year it was just very, very thick, so I still have memories from the rough. It was more like a US Open conditions than college golf.
Throughout the whole process, Holder and Fazio kept one thing consistent. The course would play difficult, but fair. The beauty of the course is in large part to the elements of the grounds. The Georgia fairways transformed from its original forested landscape. Georgia was used to combat the tough winters so golfers could play year-round. The greens are large and sloping bent grass hills. The low-cut bent grass can be similar to glass during peak championship conditions. The bunkers surrounding most holes remind golfers of a white beach rather than a deep hazard. Lake Louise, surrounded by the second 9, completes the perfect finishing hole. The long par 72 course perfectly combines nature with the difficulty of a championship course. Karsten's added challenge is the Oklahoma wind.
Well, Karsten Creek is a big golf course, and it's really designed for championship golf, and you've got to really be able to strike your golf ball. If you're somebody that struggles with ball striking, once you factor in the wind and the conditions that we play in out here, a lot of times you're going to be in big trouble if you're not a good ball striker.
Because of its difficulty, Karsten Creek is preparing to host its 3rd national championship. The course hosted the 2003, 2011, and will host the 2018 men's and women's championships. A big reason Karsten Creek has the opportunity to host national events is its facilities and the Cowboy and Cowgirl Pro-Ams. Holder created the Cowboy Pro-Am in 1973 to help raise money for the program.
OSU was hosting its first national championship and Laban Harris was retiring, and they wanted to put on a good show, no different than what we want to do this year. And so they had a fundraiser for that. A man named Jerry Walsh brought Boone Pickens and I believe Sherman Smith to that Pro-Am.
Since 1973, the Pro-Ams have been the primary fundraiser to help the programs remain at the top in college golf.
Our program couldn't be what it is without the loyal support of all of our donors and fans and the OSU golf family. So a critical component of that is our Cowgirl Pro-Am.
The proceeds of both Pro-Ams go directly to the improvements of Karsten Creek. This is most evident with the creation of the clubhouse in 2003. A lodge-style clubhouse includes a kitchen where the players eat every day, men's and women's locker rooms, and a hall showing OSU's team and individual accomplishments. The Pro-Ams also funded an additional practice facility and an indoor hitting bay for when the weather is poor.
From a facility standpoint, we set the standard in college golf.
Because of the top facility, Karsten is hosting the best collegiate golfers this spring.
Yeah, this will be the third time we've hosted the national championship. It's 24 years old this year. Absolutely, I wish we could have hosted more. That's why we built the golf course, to help our teams get ready, get prepared to win the national championship, move on to careers on the PGA Tour, and be a showcase for college golf and for the NCAA championship.
Hosting a championship requires a course to be in peak condition come May.
Day in and day out, it's in championship condition. Day in and day out, it plays very, very difficult. You can't fake it around here. If you're going to post a score out here, you have to be playing well, and that's a big advantage for a player.
The 2018 championship will be the first dual championship where the men and women play at Karsten Creek. In 2003, the men were runner-up to Clemson, and in 2011, Augusta State and Masters champion Patrick Reed took the title. The women haven't played a national championship at Karsten Creek until 2018.
Of course, with golf, there's so much that goes with the game and the knowledge of the course, and having the opportunity to have grown up on these greens and to know every single break out there.
Holder knew that Karsten Creek would host multiple national events immediately. To him, he sees more than a championship-level course.
Well, number one, that's the one that my family's name's on. We donated the money for that hole, so I sprinkled my mother's and father's ashes on that fairway, so it's pretty special.
Similar to number one, every hole has a donor and personal story behind it. Boone Pickens at 4, Sherman Smith at 6, and the Solheims at 18. All these and more helped Holder turn a messy, hilly forest into a masterpiece.
Karsten Creek was built to create champions of our men's and women's golf team. So there aren't any other schools in the country that have that same commitment to college golf as we do here at Oklahoma State.
But if you're going to play at the highest level, you've got to be able to focus on where you want to go, and Karsten Creek does a good job of training you to do that, because if you don't, you're going to have a long day. And that's a great legacy that Coach Holder left, because that's the way he coached.
From the creeks that run into Lake Louise, to the rolling fairways and white sand bunkers surrounding them, to the infinite number of trees that engulf the course, Karsten Creek will continue to be a manifestation of one golf coach's dream come to life.
I know this is Coach Holder's vision, and it just keeps getting better and better. And it keeps improving from when I was a player to a coach, and we're constantly thinking about how to make it better and to help our players really reach their goals and help the program be as good as possible. So it's pretty amazing.